I'm James Kirk,
I'm Michi Hoyer,
and you're watching simnews.tv.
Pass them both on the wet part of the racetrack. Oh, he swings left and right there. Trying to put Wallace up. That was so close.
Hello and welcome to round 4 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge, coming to you today from the land of fire. It's Baku, Azerbaijan. My name's Mike Bell, and alongside me today is Chris de Jong.
Good afternoon to you all. What are the expectations today?
Hopefully we're going to have 2 fun-filled races. I mean, it's Formula Challenge and it's Baku, so that should add up to some entertainment.
Yes, definitely will. It's either a plan of carnage or great racing, but either of the two, we're excited to the battle.
As we were discussing off camera, this track it's a street circuit, obviously, so the walls are forever present, so you can never get too comfortable. But it's not such a difficult track that the track is the only challenge. Like a place like Monaco, it's really you versus the track. But at Baku, there's room to race. There's some good overtaking spots, and there's that massive long straight coming out of turn 16 where you're flat out for nearly 30 seconds in these cars. So
yeah, and it's a great track to drive as well. It's like you said, a street circuit, but plenty of room to overtake and room for action.
Indeed. Last few cars just finishing. I think Adrian Campfield, the last car out in the warm-up, in the practice, and then we're going to be heading towards quali. Drivers saying possibly high 51s to look out for the fastest in this session is a 52.2 from Dawid Krupa. But the only 252s are both the Mousesport cars, or the Mouse 1 cars, should I say.
Well, maybe they haven't showed their back of the tongues yet.
Perhaps.
Could be.
Waiting for it to come through. There's a few, for example, at KC Esports, they've Miguel de los Rios is missing for this round, and in his place is I think he's left the server.
He's coming back.
Gonna have to give the cameras just a minute. It appears they've not got the updated contract. As the drivers now, it's qualifying started. The first person out on track is the replacement driver for KC Esports, it's Bernard Vela. We're here, and the camera should be with us shortly. And again, in qualifying, street circuit, finding space is going to be a premium. So the head of this train is where you're going to want to be. And that is where Bernard Vela is at the moment.
I'm sure we will get a shuffle, everyone breaking down before the last corner, getting to have or trying to get that gap working, you know, but
And so yeah, it probably would be around about turn 15. We saw what happened in the real life F1 when too many drivers try and do that. Someone's going to get caught out, and is because I've been that guy in World GT that's been passed on the last turn.
It happens.
It feels like it ruins a lap. Castle section. And so looking at the drivers towards the front here, it seems to all be some pretty quick.
We already have a crash with Sandeep Singh. He manages to keep going.
That's not good. It's the worst time to have a knock on the outlap because then you're nursing damage back into the pits. And I mean, he's got his wings are all good. I think his steering is slightly offset, so
Yeah.
he
Well,
might
maybe
head
he
to
just
the
wants to
back
have
of
a
the pits.
banker lap.
True. So he was. He did say he was struggling in the pre-race with actually getting a qualifying run in. Just kept clipping the walls.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you can't blame him here, but
pretty close. You got to run quite close to them. They got to be your friends, not your enemies. But it looks like Menno Klont is sticking right with Bernard Vela, not giving him any room, just to take all of the slipstream towards turn 1.
But is he gonna get in trouble later on in the lap, because he is getting held up now? You know.
Maybe, I'm not sure it was the smartest move from Menno, but he'll probably either drop back or try and get past. But Vela around turn 2 as Klont slams into the wall as they go into the second
Heavy
DRS
shot.
zone. It's a side impact. There's not. It's not as bad as it looks or sounds sometimes. So I'll probably be able to keep going from that. It's if you go in forward or backwards or at a slight angle that's the problem.
Who do you reckon will get pole position then? Menno?
To set the fastest time, I think I'm going to go with David Krupa because he's always really good in these qualifying sessions. Unfortunately, he is carrying a grid penalty, so I don't think he'll start on pole, but he could this time.
You don't think so? Well, no, but
He's got
how many grid penalty does he have?
5th place on David Krupa.
All right. Well,
I think of the front runners, he's the only real pole position contender to be having a grid penalty today. Absence of De Los Rios, that's probably going to be the only one in the top 10. As we look at behind Hemmingson, so he's back right out. But this is going to be great for Hemmingson because he's on a hot lap and he's catching Vela as they come down towards turn 16.
Yeah.
So he's going to get all the slipstream through turn 17, 18, 19, and 20.
Really curious what the times will be.
Live timing, and obviously purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2 for Martin Hemmingson, and he's going to have a dream slipstream all the way down to the line with DRS and be able to do. As they're out of turn 20, DRS wide open as they head towards the line. It'll be the first time in on a 54.2, and Hemmingson only a 53.1, so as Vela hits the wall in turn 1, as we hear we're having a slight issue with cameras, so we're going to have an audio commentary until those are fixed. Hemmingson fastest lap with a 53.1, so not as fast as they were doing in the warm-up, but dropping back a few places. Adrian Campfield has set a purple sector 2. Brilliant sector 1 in the world, but Adrian Campfield goes 3rd on a 58.6, and between them is Kasper Michalak for PZZW. Someone who's always there or thereabouts in the qualifying session. So who have you got your eye on then, Chris?
Yeah, Menno Klont, but at the moment I'm having my eye on Bernard Vela, who's driving around with 3 wheels.
Oh, that is a result of the wall.
Actually continuing.
Got to get it back to the pits if he wants to go out and have another crack at this. So he's got to be safe, trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah, definitely.
As we're hearing, we do have cameras back now, thanks to Alex Skinner for getting that sorted.
Yeah, sorry for the technicality, but there we are.
Vela's coming up to the castle section. This is one where you really don't want to be having anyone up behind him. As he's got the winner of the Academy Series race yesterday, it's Patrick Rochak coming up behind him, and Vela just about gets out of the castle. He's down in 17th only, but after the first lap, he's got to be on an improvement.
Yeah, and
in fact,
Hemmingson
he's about 2 seconds up.
Hemmingsen is really trying hard, but he's really having a lot of oversteer out of the last corner.
For the pit
He's
lane.
going back into the pit, yeah.
A name I didn't think I'd see hit the top of the timesheets. Rick Van Doorn. Pole for the Mad Otter team. Not had the best of seasons so far. Struggled a bit. Got some points last time out. Currently fastest, and I think he's going to be heading for the pit lane on this lap.
Yeah.
It's only 1 lap runs for these guys.
Yeah, and the thing is, with this, with a long circuit like this, you have 153 or 155, let's say, for a lap. So if you do an out lap, timed lap, and an in lap, you basically lost 6 minutes. So we're going to see 2, maybe 3 runs, but let's say.
So it'd probably be smart to take enough fuel for 2 or maybe even 3 laps, go out now and just stay out to the end of the session.
Then on the second lap, on the second timed lap, you won't have the fresh edge on the tires that you would favor. But yeah, then again, it might be a good.
I think these are medium compound tires on these cars, so they're not particularly melty. It's more the fuel weight that's going to make the difference. She's jumped up into 7th place for Calamity with a purple sector 3. A good start from Whitehouse, one of the many drivers who have gone through the Crossfire Reserve program, including someone who I'd like to talk about for just a minute. He's not managed to set a time just yet, but in 24th place, Daniel Hurlock, now driving for Santon Motorsports. He was in the Academy car last time out, got himself a 12th place at Bahrain. Pretty solid. Looking forward to see what he can do on a full-time drive as he's coming up to the castle section.
As we just seen Jonathan Holmes going into P2 with 53.083. So he's getting up there.
It seems like the glass ceiling is the 53.0. Who's going to be the first one to crack it, I wonder?
Yeah, we will see someone crack it though. I'm sure.
I expect so as well. Here comes Martin Hemmingsen. He's on the starter lap. Don't know if we managed to get him on board yet, but this is a good chance. So we've got Martin Hemmingsen heading down towards turn 1, 6th gear, nearly 300 kilometers an hour, DRS wide open into the 90-degree turn 1. Up to turn 2. And out of turn 2 across the DRS activation line. And a second long straight. Straights on most circuits. Time DRS wide open, and we see turn 3 up in the distance. Really narrowing up on exit. The line takes you super close to the wall and over the curb, and these cars and curbs are not the best of friends. Into turn 4, and again using all the track on the way out. And into the chicane of 5 and 6, which is really deceptive. And you come out of turn 6 and on the run parallel to the final straight, which again the track opens up quite nicely here, good chance for an overtake, but then tightens right back up, and then you come into 8, 9 and 10, which is basically single file up through the castle section, around turn 11 and 12, and then back
I want
on
to
the
say sorry
throttle.
to cut you, but Hemmingsen is looking quite well on this lap. He might be the first to crack the 52.
4 tenths up on Van Dorn at the moment, assuming he can get a good run through
This-
turn
this
15 and
actually-
down the hill using all the track on board as he goes through turn 16. And he's got the run out. He doesn't have a slipstream, but that doesn't seem to matter at this point, as he's nearly a second up on Rick Van Doren after sector 2. So this could even be maybe a high 51 if Hemmingsen has got the run out. As he goes down under one of the many bridges.
He's certainly up there.
DRS back open on the left and across the line. Martin Hemmingsen 52.3. That lack of a slipstream I think has cost him a little bit, but still a low 52.
Definitely setting the pace for the other guys to catch up, and they have to catch up because a gap of 7 tenths between Martin and Rick is definitely a wide gap.
It is indeed. I think a lot of these guys could jump into that gap if they can just get a clear lap. Yeah.
And that's the thing, you can practice all you want, but this is the time where it has to happen. This is the time where you have to show what you're worth. And you either make it or break.
And especially a track like Baku, I mean,
technical.
it's a street circuit. it's notoriously hard to pass. Although one person last year who had a great qualifying was Adrian Catfield. Unfortunately, didn't manage to finish the first race, but then came through and gained 19 positions in race 2.
Wow. Ooh,
So
Emmingson
you've got someone who
going,
knows.
crashing into the chicane, and his lap is done. It was a big shunt indeed. He was purple,
I mean,
but
Castle bit, you just go too fast on the way in and you're in a lot of trouble very fast.
at least he gave it his all.
Well, he's got his banker lap in now. He needs to, to go any faster, he's going to need to have effort 100% of the road usage and be damn near perfect.
Jonathan
he was
Holmes.
purple in the first sector, so he's definitely got more pace in that mouse one.
And Jonathan Holmes now lining up for his second try or third try. Let's see what he will do, but not a lot of people setting great sector times but there's still 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, so it's still a bit more time. Holmes with a good turn 1. I'm seeing a lot of people setting personal bests though, including someone who's a bit far down the order for what he'd... Terence Grech, who's all the way down in 18th, but he is on an improvement. So hopefully he'll get up. One should be Agnes Terence Grech.
And David Krupa, in the meantime, just did a 52.428, leaving him only a 10th behind Martin Hemmingson. But I don't know if he has another run. No, he presses escape.
He's back. That's Krupa's qualifying over. That's Mouse 1 with both cars a 10th apart, 7 tenths clear of anybody else. And those guys have seen been qualifying. But Rick Randorn, he's not up on the Mouse 1s, but he's like 3 tenths up on himself. Down as what's that? Oh, Krupa's just left the game, so he'll be back in a moment. And Rick Van Dorn choosing to head back into the pit, so clearly not confident for another one. But he was up on his time, so I'm not sure why he didn't just go through and take it. But oh well, must be confident of being able to improve by more than 2 tenths.
Yeah, and Jonathan Holmes just did a personal best in sector 1, but then had half of a spin in sector 2, so his qualifying will be over as well. And then again, the numbers are slinking of the people that are still able to get a.
I'll say a few people did put lap times in. Bernard Vela up to 6th with a pretty solid lap time. He had a personal best in sector 1 and 2, but sometimes dropped in 3, so he's still got more time on the table. And Mateusz Szabinski up into 9th in the ever-present PLS car. With points of the last few rounds, steadily working his way up the championship. We're now down to the point where anybody who finishes a lap now will only have 1 more to go.
And they have to be
over. One of those guys is Martin Hemmingson. I don't think he's in too much danger of getting beaten unless someone from behind pulls out an absolute worldie, but
yeah,
fight until he's maybe a 51.
Pole position indeed. Well, he does have the best papers at the moment, but anything can change in the blink of an eye.
Did you say that? Alexander Ragoza moves up into 4th place for the PZZW team. 3rd row starts in qualifying, so row 2 starts going to be an improvement as he spins out of turn 2, and that's going to be his section over and done with.
Hopefully he doesn't block anyone, because he's turning his car around, and fortunately he didn't.
Yeah, he's good. Got a lot of space to work with there.
So still a lot of guys out on track. As Bernard Vela is crossing the start-finish line, can he make an improvement? He can't.
I think that was more of a setup lap. Looking at the timing, it was 2 seconds off of his pace. Field is up on himself in sector 1. He's coming down towards the end of sector 2. And Sandeep Singh just behind him on the road. He's also on an improvement, but I think Campfield is going to be the first one to hit the line, as it's another improvement in sector 2. Not going to be enough to jump Hemmingson, but could certainly put him on the front row.
Busy doing a personal best, so let's see what it is.
It was 2 tenths up going into turn 16. Now it's just the big long run down to the straight. Not much time to be gained or lost here, just a case of keep your foot hammered to the floor and hit the DRS button the second you can.
But he will
He
jump, I
slid.
think.
Ooh! Yep, second place for Campfield.
So
Just behind him.
Hemmingsen will not have his teammate besides. Oh no, he will, but his teammate just left the serve for a bit. My bad. David
Krupa's grid
Krupa.
penalty as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. So he will start from P7.
The next person to cross the line, I think, certainly from the top guys, is going to be Kasper Michalek. Currently 6th, currently a couple of tenths up on his lap time. Could be enough to jump him in and around 3rd to 5th. Rick Van Doorn on a 0.66 and Alexander Ragoza on a 1.17 with Jonathan Holmes in between them. Kasper Michalek slips to 7th as he jumped by James Pinsker. And Michalek to the line, and he improved, but not enough to jump him any places. So Kasper Michalek starting 7th. James Pinsker with a 6th place out of nowhere. I think the last person of all on an improvement is all the way down in 24th. It's Alistair Khan. There's another new driver in for Santon, as he's not activated his DRS, which is going to be costing him crucial tenths of a second. Line, and he stays 24th.
Well, definitely an exciting qualifier here, but I don't think it will be less tense during the race, because that turn 1 is like scary for everyone. Definitely with what is it, 29 drivers.
I'd say we'll be 30 when David Krupa gets back in.
Oh, what a grid! What a joy!
Getting 30 drivers around the street circuit. It's going to be Martin Hemmingsen starting from pole position. I got the Mouse 1 right. I just got the wrong Mouse 1 driver on pole, with David Krupa with the second fastest time, but with the grid penalty, leaving Adrian Campfield to going to be joining him on the front row. And a mega well done to the Mad Otter iSim RS Racing number 03 of Rick Van Doorn. That is amazing qualifying compared to the other results he's had this season.
Yeah.
So mega props for him. Got to see if he can keep there in the race. And then behind him, behind in 4th is the current championship leader, Jonathan Holmes. He's going to be happy there. None of his other championship contenders are even... Well, Sandeep Singh is 10th, and he's the closest one to him.
And I wanted to say that Adrian Campfield just said in chat, well done, no way I can get near that. So he's definitely taking his hats off for Hemmingsen. And why shouldn't he? I mean, he took pole by a long shot.
Both Mouse 1s absolutely dominant in this session. They were... The last 2 sessions as well, Mouse 1 have been the team to beat. So their poor round 1 could just leave them with a comeback story for the rest of the year. We saw even in the Super League last year with Alex Siebel, I think I'm right in saying having 0 points after round 3 and coming back to win the championship.
Yeah, anything is possible in racing.
Anything is possible. And we are going to jump to a quick break, and then we will be back with you for the rest of the warm-up and race 1.
I'm James Kirk. I'm Mitchie Hoyer, and you're watching simnews.tv.
On the wet part of the racetrack. Oh, he swings left and right, and then trying to come over that ball. Oh, that was so close.
And we are back with the GPVWC Formula Challenge here from Baku. We've just had qualifying, and Martin Hemmingsen and David Krupa from Mouse 1 put in an absolutely blinding performance, Chris. First and second in the timings, over half a second clear of Adrian Campfield.
And maybe Krupa can get up to the field and give Hemmingsen a hand, but first he has to pass a lot of quick guys in order to do so. But definitely we will have the right formula to see some action on the track.
Yeah, he's only coming from row 4, so still Krupa on the podium is not out of the realm of possibilities. But realistically, can you look past Martin Hemmingsen for the race 1 win here today? It's going to be, if he can break free of that slipstream, it's just going to be him versus the track.
It is, but the most crucial part in the first lap will be the chicane near the castle. You know, that will be, if someone goes straight on into the barriers there, it's gonna get a...
For sure, that area is so tight that we could potentially be seeing, if somebody makes a slight mistake, they're getting into the wall and they're going to be holding up 5, 6, 7 other cars.
Yeah, well, guys, I'm knocking on wood 3 times for you, so hopefully it helps. No, but we all want to see everyone go through on the first lap, but then again, you know, with 30 cars, it's bound to happen that at least someone will go off. But yeah, let's just see and find out. I'm really excited for this actually. Baku, honestly, a really great track for racing, overtaking everything that is needed. I mean, we have seen this in real F1. It's always delivering in terms of exciting races.
Indeed there is. I mean, there's 2 long straights with 2 DRS zones, so, you know, even that will just provide overtaking by itself. Lots of corners and long braking zones, and for a street circuit, most of it's actually really quite wide and quite usable.
It is.
It's only that castle section that properly narrows everything down, but drivers out here, we've got, you know, the majority of them are super competitive and they're all going to be going for every single position, so anybody in front leaves half a gap, they're going to think and they're going to stick their nose in potentially. I mean, yeah, obviously you want to see a nice clean race. I think everyone in the grid would like to see a nice clean race.
Yeah, but having 1 or 2 big jumps, that's part of racing as well, right? I mean,
if you have this many drivers pushing close to the limit, which is as unforgiving as this, you know. Exactly. Someone's gonna lose out at some point. As we've got David Krupa rejoining the session. I was reading that he's actually had a bit of stuttering or something during that session, so he's gonna hopefully have fixed that for the race, which would have been slowing him down.
Stuttering, that reminds me, it might be CPU lag. You know, that the CPU can't handle it, and that some cars are, you know, shivering back and forth. So hopefully it's sorted for him, because that would be a terrible drama if that would happen.
I say we've already seen a few too many incidents caused by CPU lag and stuff like that. So I mean, he's taking advice from Maciek Milnek, who is, you know, one of the guys racing in an upper series, fair as can be, knows all the tricks. So he's probably going to have advised David Krupa on the best method to reduce that. Who did have to rejoin just before the end of qualifying. One of those, and he didn't actually manage to get a time in because he joined so close to the end, is for RTB Racing, Philip Koenig. Such a strong round 1, and then struggled in the next 2 rounds. And then for round 4 at Baku, he's going to be starting all the way down at the back of the grid. He's got an absolute mountain to climb to get back into the points. Yeah.
Well, anything is possible. Just ask Alexander Albon in China.
For sure, but that's around China. China's not Baku, there's more room there.
Nah, true, but I mean, in Baku you might not have the same amount of opportunities to overtake, but definitely that straight in the last and first sector, I mean, that's gonna help. You know, it's not like it's impossible, like you said in Monaco, but it's gonna be tight. It's definitely gonna be tight here.
Obviously, nowhere safe. You got to be on your toes at all time. And you say this big long straight, it's got 4 official corners on it, so you've got to get those all right. And then even the straights, if people tangle in these straights, there's no small accident. You know, as we were racing in the Super Cup last year, and everybody's favourite Lewis McGlade, he's got a pretty nice onboard of that, where he actually got sent flying on that straight. So you've even got to be aware of cars to your left, right, behind you, and coming from above you. That crash, and it was very much a case of focusing on avoiding that. Nearly missed the braking point for the first corner, and nearly ended my own race on the spot. So you've got to always have eyes everywhere around this track.
Well, I do have to say, I'm scrolling through a lot of these drivers, and almost everyone has made a slight cock up in terms of hitting the wall slightly, on the sides. So, maybe holding a little bit back and keeping your car complete for 100% no damage will be a good strategy. However, it's it's on the driver's choice. But any driver wouldn't want to go any slower than his capabilities. But yeah, let's just see. It's getting tense.
Well, that's the thing around a track like this. The fastest line is to brush the wall. Using all the track. There's actually a pretty awesome fight going on track right now. There's as I say that, looked like Janade went to try a practice start and Pinsker didn't expect it and went up the back of him. But before that, we were speaking off the broadcast about the long straight at Spa and about how it's possible to get past through the slipstream and then to be repassed in the same slipstream. This straight here is long enough that there was actually going on between Pinsker, Klont, Geniale and Greg. Just along the start straight, one would go by and then in a slipstream, and then the other one would pick the slipstream up and retake. So you never know here, and with DRS assistance, could make or lose several spots in a lap.
Yeah. Well, only 1 minute to go before we are going to race here at the Baku Grand Prix circuit, and well, let's just hold our fingers crossed for that turn one.
I'll say predictions for the race win. I'm going to go for Martin Hemmingsen.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's looking in top form here, and he's looking like he's having an edge on every driver except his teammate. But then again, like you said, his teammate has a 5 grid penalty, so he's starting from P7. So yeah.
That was Krupa with the work to do, but it seems like they are on another level as now. Just one driver here.
So what do you reckon? If Krupa manages to get into P2, will he battle it on with Hemmingsen, like Max Verstappen Ricciardo style some years ago? Or
Verstappen Ricciardo style, probably not, as in I don't think they're going to rear end each other into turn 1 here.
I hope not.
But they're for sure. I don't think there'll be any team orders in that team. They're both drivers who, Krupa had bad round 1, Hemmingsen missed round 1. They're both competitors for this championship that need to make up ground. I don't think there's going to be any team orders. I certainly don't think there's going to be many people brave enough to give team orders to 2 drivers in that position. Yeah. But they're going to be going for it full hammer and tongs, and it's going to be great to watch.
Exactly.
Assuming they.
And as RD Chris is telling the drivers, please be very careful in the opening laps, especially in the castle section. Well, if you or I would say that, it would be a commentator curse. So let's see.
I'm not going to say anything on that. I don't want to be responsible if it does happen.
Well, that's this. So the session has ended, and we're moving towards the race shortly. Place your bets now.
It's like the session's ended. People are still out there racing as Jonathan Holmes and Philip Koenig race towards the line, and Koenig gets it by a nose. That's
Rick Van Doorn, by the way,
practice that in warm up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say Rick Van Doorn is only a 10th of Martin, so yeah, he seems to have the pace as well, and he's starting up front. There's plenty of opportunity for him to make life hard for Hamilton.
Yeah, I think he's going to be an unusual one for them to have to factor in at the front, is Rick Van Doorn. Usually towards the back end of the points and maybe in and around the back end of the top 10 on a good day, and now he's all the way up at the front at Baku, so we'll have to see. We're hearing that the Santa Motorsport driver, Alistair Long, in qualifying we were on board with, he actually forgot to use his DRS. Alice. Sorry. We get a bit of a tongue lashing from the cameraman, so hopefully he'll remember to use it in the race this time, because it'll probably make the difference for a number of places, as we have the R-Factor man going through his spiel and everybody taking to the grid. For race 1 at Baku, it's going to be Martin Hemmingsen on pole position for Mouse 1. And alongside him to the inside, actually, that could be key to turn 1, is going to be the TSA Racing Wood Apex driver Adrian Campfield, qualifying in the same position as he did last year. Hopefully not going to be repeating the result of last year where he met his fate before the end of the race. And then behind them is going to be the surprise of qualifying, Rick Van Doorn. It really is the fly in the ointment up towards the front, see what he can do. Second row opportunity. Joining him on the second row is the championship leader, Jonathan Holmes. TJ over Terence Grech, and Grech right in the back of the top 10, so Holmes will be pleased as punch with this qualifying result. Then behind him, another row 3 for PZZW, it's Alexander Ragoza. Decent points all year. And then behind him in 6th is going to be James Pinsker for Go Team. He's going to be an interesting one to watch, always up for a fight. And then Dawid Krupa qualified second with his grid drop, now going to be starting in 7th place. Got the pace, let's see if he can make it back to the front. And alongside him is going to be Kasper Michalak, second PZZW. Like the super sub for KC Racing. And in 10th place is going to be the second place in the championship, Terence Grech, ahead of his championship rival, Sandeep Singh, second and third in the championship. 10th and 11th on the road. Lexo for Razor, Mateusz Jabinski, and Daniel Hurlock. So Hurlock up in the points to start with for Stanton. This would be pretty good for them. George Whitehouse, another of the ex-Crossfire reserve drivers for Calamity, ahead of the actual Crossfire driver, Minnow Blunt, in 16th. And Frank Hamming, who really impressed a lot of people last time out with his points haul for Race Stars Namco after their pretty dire start to the season, I think it's fair to say. And then behind him in 18th place for the Academy team, it's Haiger Poon. He came second at Bahrain yesterday. Let's see where he can finish today. Aiden Rhodes 19th, being a bit outclassed by his teammate this qualifying session. And then Bartlemy Meshishik rounding out the top 20 in the second PLS car. And behind him is going to be Yannick Malaika and Patrick Roshek, who was the winner of that Academy race yesterday. Hopefully he'll remember his DRS in the race. He's in 23rd, ahead of Arjen van Putten. And Tom Voss rounding out the top 25, subbing in as Namco. Ahead of Tony Janssen, Francesco Gianale, and Paul Holt. At the grid, Philip Koenig is going to be by himself because Gerrit de Vries elected to start from the pit lane. And on a track like this, that could potentially be a smart decision from Gerrit.
Exactly. As Martin Hemmingsen is pulling up onto his grid slot, is stationary at the moment, whilst Philip Koenig is still, well, half a kilometer away actually. So it's going to be a long wait.
It's a very long straight. Hemmingsen's tyres and brakes are going to be really quite cold when they come to the green light.
Most definitely.
Bring back on with Koenig just to see where he is. He's only just at the DRS activation point. Still a few seconds to go to line up.
And only Koenig, but he's taking his time for sure. There we go. All cars are lined up, and I would say take it away.
As they're going to look for the lights. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. Baku. Hemmingsen with a good launch, no wheel spin, but Campfield still on the inside. Hemmingsen's going to go deep and take the lead into turn 1 from Campfield, Van Doorn, and that's Krupa out wide as they're 4 wide for, I think that's 6th place or something like that. Vela is getting the lead of that, but Stephen Lexter is to 8th by just hugging that inside line as someone's touched the wall. He's held up a few drivers, but back towards the front. That's the start that Martin Hemmingsen needed. Campfield in 2nd, Rick Van Doorn in 3rd, and Jonathan Holmes looking left, looking right, looking back to the left again. He's going to be desperate to get up onto that podium.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Relatively good start for all the drivers. There was some scramble in the back after turn 2, but nothing that major. So let's see how they go on with this.
We've heard James Pinsker has had a screw freeze, so that's not going to be good. He's up in 6th. So hopefully he doesn't have any more of those. He's right in the mix of things, so if a screen freeze from him could be devastating for somebody. I was noticing Menno Klont up to 16th. He's making some progress. Crossfire, one of the teams to keep an eye on in the team championship, is behind him. Both Messerschmitt and Mikulak tap the wall. Mikulak looking to repass Messerschmitt. Mikulak lost a lot of places on the first lap as they come down towards turn 15. In behind, that's Hayden Rhodes. Look, getting brave on against, I'm not sure who it was against. It was one of the Academy cars, and he hit the wall on the exit. That's going to allow Tom Voss past him and up into 21st. But that's a contrast of fortunes for the two Mad Otter cars.
Rick Van Doorn now on the back of Adrian Canfield. He's getting a quite a good slipstream now, but can he capitalize on that?
I don't think this lap is a bit too far back, but he's going to show his nose anyway.
Yeah, was right to do so.
He got very close to the back of Canfield, but they've pulled away from Jonathan Holmes. And as could be expected, Hemmingson starting to break away as there's a crash in the back. That is Frank Hamming involved. He says he's lost the front wing.
And the big crash.
At the back.
Oof. There's a big gap now between Rhodes, I believe, and Bosniak. Rocek, sorry. But fortunately, they all managed to keep going for now.
I mean,
and
we like that
again, Kasper and Arte. Oh, a lot of scraping going on in P16 here.
So they're all over the place. As one driver makes a tiny error, it just stacks everybody up behind. And George Whitehouse has got his vision full of Academy Series cars as they go side by side, battling hard through turns 5 and 6, and a little bit of contact. And George Whitehouse defends really hard against Frank Hamming, who doesn't have a front wing. Hopefully he'll realise that. Caution, make him aware of it, because that's going to have to be a pit stop for Frank Hamming. Front there is a bit of a gap now at the end of the top 13 because of that. It's a breakaway group. Menno Klont's got nobody in his rear view mirror, and Daniel Hurlock ahead of him. Noah Krupa still in third. That's a big slide from Bernard Vela. Is that going to give an opportunity to Terence Grech? Grech up the inside, Terence Grech into 8th place.
His exit won't be as good, I reckon, so he really has to stamp on it. And there goes Vela trying to make the undercut back on him.
So, and Greg's going to have no toe as well. He's going to not only be aware of Bernard Vela coming up right onto the back of his gearbox, but Steven Lexo is making some serious gains with a double slipstream. Out ahead of Greg already. Lexo's going to look towards the inside.
3 wide here.
Going 3 wide in towards turn 1. I think they're both clear of Greg, and Lexo's going to go down the inside for a double pass, but is he going to get it stopped? Yes, he is, but he's going to run wide, and both the places are going to... As Daniel Hurlock looking up the inside of Zubinski into turn 2. Active now, and you see in unison almost everybody ahead of him pop the DRS open. So Hurlock is going to be in the slipstream of Zubinski. Zubinski defends. Hurlock going to the outside, and he's going to brake later. Daniel Hurlock trying to go around the outside. Pay off though, as they're still all over each other in front. Grech, Lexo, and Vela. They're not going to give up this fight for 8th place.
No, they won't. And David Krupa has made up 1 place on the start, but is getting under pressure by James Pinsker at the moment. So he's rather defending than attacking at the moment. Pinsker is looking rather aggressive and fast.
So Pinsker's been looking.
Oh, we have a crash here! A spin between Stephen, Leo, and I believe it was Greg.
Lexo lost his front wing. Look, he just went in a bit too deep against Terence Grech into turn 7. There's a bit of a bumpy track this, and braking zones are not the most comfortable place, but Lexo's going to drop like a stone. He's down to 13th already. Sandeep Singh all over the back of him. And Lexo, not only that, he's going to have to be careful not to pick up too much more damage, but he's going to have to pit for a new front wing.
And Hemmingson now comfortably in the lead with 1.3 seconds between him and Adrian Campfield. Rick van Doorn following at 2.4 seconds off the lead, having a 1 second gap between Campfield. So the field is slightly is starting to bottom out a little bit in the terms that everyone is finding their slot. But yeah, it's still close.
As we look back, it's Daniel Hurlock again attacking Mateusz Jubinski. DRS assistant Jubinski didn't get DRS, so that's going to leave him a sitting duck. Hurlock's going to go around the outside. Jubinski's going to try and defend up the inside. Hurlock brakes on the curb. from Daniel Hurlock, but here comes Menno Klont looking to the inside now. I think Menno's going to back out of that, but Hurlock braked on the curb there, and the car just bottomed out.
Yeah, he was ahead, but he was on the wrong side of the track. At least, you know, Zubinski just had track position there.
Track position versus outright speed. Track position would usually come out ahead.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Hurlock staying behind and under attacking Menno Klont. But looking just a bit back from these guys, Sandeep Singh, he seems to be gapping the group behind Mechashik. As Janet Malaika and Hayden Rhodes have come together, that's in turn 3. And they both get going. Malaika works Tom Voss a bit, but Tom Voss up to 20th now.
They both still have their front wing, so that's good.
With that, Tom Voss just went straight on. And to turn 4, and he's going to have to 3-point turn his way out of that. So, race stars Amoco's second car, not having a great race. Back up ahead, Rosbach is spun around, and it sounds like he was contact with Kasper Mikulak. But Patrick Roszak won the race yesterday in the Academy Series, not having the same fortune today around the streets of Baku.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's going to drop back to 26. Before all that action happened, it looks like Sandeep Singh, he's gapped the group behind him, he's making strides to try and catch up with the group ahead of him. It looks like he's got quite an oversteery car, which could, in the straight, if he can get the power on right. But that's going to be in a couple of laps. As we look back again, Hurlock closing in again on Jabinski. He's got DRS, it's open now. Really good slipstream as he's inching up to the back. Pulls to the outside again. Is he going to stay off the curb this time? And Vela run close. Hurlock's not going to do anything. But behind, that's... Oh, I thought that was a pass. That was the timing playing games with me. But it looks like the fight here is 8th, 9th, and then 10th and 11th between Vela and Grek, and then Jabinski and Hurlock. As Grek is lining up Vela again for a move into turn 3. DRS. Grek through, sweet as a nut. Vela trying to attack him on the cutback, but I don't think it's going to work. So Grek's going to be ahead for now in P8.
Great racing indeed. And Rick van Doorn, he was a little bit closer a few corners ago on Campfield, but he's getting closer to Adrian. And if he isn't taking this corner as wide as he was doing, he might have gotten a shot in at the end of the lap. Let's see, it's half a second now between P3 and P2.
I think Campfield potentially made a small mistake because he dropped back from Hemmingson more than I would expect. And that's given Rick van Doorn, who already had DRS, gap. It was only 0.3 as they crossed the line, but Campfield pulled a bit more back in the middle sector. But looking just behind these guys, David Krupa, he's pulling away from James Pinsker. He's going to be attacking Alexander Ragoza on the way into turn 1, almost 100% certainly. He's within DRS reach, he's within slipstream, he's actually maybe 3 or 4 lengths back in 30 seconds of full throttle, which is 30 seconds of slipstream as far as David Krupa is concerned. He had better run out, but if you see Krupa just gaining and gaining and gaining, he's going to get DRS any second, and then he's going to be able to open it coming up under this bridge just ahead. Krupa's going to close even more. Ragoza's not going to defend it, he's going to just stick to the racing line, move to the outside. David Krupa down the inside. He's going to try and hang on the outside as they're going to be side by side off of turn 1. Really close racing, they're giving each other no room, and there's contact. Krupa into Ragoza, Ragoza into the wall, but Krupa ahead. And can Ragoza get back past? He's got the second DRS zone.
That could have ended in Tearstos. Greatly it didn't, but this is too far back. I suppose, but he's going for it! Krupa has to go wide, and they let each other live just barely. Great racing from the both of them.
So yeah, great awareness from Krupa not to turn in on the nose of Ragoza there and give him the space, but David Krupa now up to 5th. He's got a bit of a gap to Jonathan Holmes, but I did spot going into turn 3, yet again, Rick van Doorn looking at Adrian Campfield. He's right underneath the rear wing of the TSA driver.
And didn't make a mistake on this part of the track where he did last time around, so if he can keep it together, he will have a shot at overtaking him, because with his top speed, with DRS open, he had 10 kph on Campfield, so Campfield has to look into his rear mirrors on the back straight.
So yeah, Adrian Campfield is the slowest person in the top 26 through the speed trap, whether that's because he's the only one that hasn't had a DRS run.
Yeah.
or
That's the
not,
thing,
I'm not
well-
sure. But Rick Van Doorn, if he's this close, he's gonna be making the passes. That Daniel Hurley dropping down through the field. He's
Yeah, but
been in a wall, I think. He's recovering 15. Back to Rick Van Doorn.
yeah, he had a little bit of an oversteer moment coming out of the last corner. So that's why he isn't gaining as much as he is now. But DRS is opening now. So let's see if he can get close enough. Rick Van Doorn on Adrian Camfield. He is getting closer. Camfield is not defending it. Well, if you leave the door like that open, then you're asking for it, is my opinion. But Adrian Camfield is trying to undercut, and it's Rick Van Doorn on P2 though. He had a little bit of an oversteer moment there, but nevertheless, Rick Doorn off in P2.
Camfield it looked to me certainly like he eased up there and didn't go for the attack back against Rick Van Doorn. I thought Camfield had just broken early to sucker Van Doorn in and get back underneath him. But
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, I think
then
that-
Camfield seemed to back off in third. So anyway, Rick Van Doorn up to second. And their
Let's
battle has
see.
now brought Jonathan Holmes into the mix.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like Adrian Camfield is, getting any closer to Rick Van Doorn. Rick Van Doorn is flying at the moment. So, Jonathan Holmes, like you said, is gaining up on Adrian.
So speaking of gaining, David Krupa set purple sectors in the second sector last time out. Obviously not in the third sector with no slipstream, but he's definitely on the march.
Yeah. As we almost reach the halfway point in this race.
Next time by will be over halfway. Krupa is getting closer and closer to DRS range to Jonathan Holmes as there's another R factor noise that signals that somebody's clipped the wall somewhere. Van Putten, I've just looked back to check on Hurlock. He's managed to pass both the Santons and he's up to 15th or 24th on the grid, so a good run from Van Putten.
So a little bit of a screen test here.
We've heard that unfortunately Kasper Michalak is out of the race after a crash at turn 3.
Our first retirement of this race, actually.
Look at Jonathan Holmes.
Yeah.
He's gaining. He's got the DRS. He's gaining a lot faster than Rick Van Doorn was. And Jonathan Holmes breezes past Adrian Campfield. Now, can he get the braking right into turn 1? Yes, he can. Jonathan Holmes gets a small bit of oversteer. He's feeling the need to defend from Campfield. But Campfield's going to have DRS on the way up to turn 3. Can he back to Jonathan Holmes?
Yeah, but it just looks like Adrian doesn't have the top speed of the other front runners, it seems. But here, like Jonathan Holmes is even pulling away at this moment.
He's geared to running on his own as opposed to in slipstream. Maybe 8. Campfield is now the one that's going to have to be looking in his rear view mirrors as David Krupa is catching fast. As Rick Van Doorn pulling away, Jonathan Holmes just about within DRS range, so I think that's going to be great DRS on Jonathan Holmes. I think he gets a spot on the podium unless he crashes.
But Jonathan Holmes is definitely making his way up to the field and in a podium position right now. I don't think Campfield can come back from that, but he has to be careful that Krupa isn't going to overtake him because he's starting to get closer and closer by the corner.
Looking back at the field for a moment, Bartolomei Meshishik and Alistair Kahn tangled and they both dropped out of the points. So that's going to put Paul Holt up to 16th and within sight of points. And Fair Racing Team, they've been struggling this season. Only 5 points to their name on the board. Eyeing the next place in front of him, which is the damaged Daniel Hurlock, going at it hammer and tongs with Arjen van Putten.
And now the long straight for Krupa to get closer to Campfield, but the gap is 7/10. But I just said that Campfield isn't looking like the fastest bloke on track in a straight line at the moment. Let's see if Krupa can get a move in. I think he will. DRS.
Maybe into turn 3, but
No.
Krupa is 15 kilometers faster than Campfield in a straight line.
It's a lot. It's quite a lot.
Closing now, they're all going to have DRS. Holmes, Campfield, and Krupa are going to have DRS as they go up towards turn 3. As further back, Sandeep Singh and Menno Klont side by side into turn 1. Singh with the inside, Klont hanging on around the outside. Singh's going by and then goes very defensive into turn 2. Checking back on this, nothing happening into turn 3 for 3rd to 5th. Back to Singh and Klont. Singh's gone through on turn 2. Klont's going to have the DRS. for some reason isn't tucking into the slipstream. Singh going incredibly offensive very early. I know Clark's going to be able to gain much, and sure enough, Sandeep Singh up into 11th place. I think that position is his.
Great driving from the two of them, though.
Sandeep is in it for the championship. He needs to be scoring points because both his championship rivals, Greg and Holmes, are scoring a lot more than he is at the moment. Ooh,
And Jonathan Holmes, he's getting...
That's a mistake.
It was a mistake. I don't think he got any damage from the slight shove with the wall, but I do think that the end of this race will be spectacular between Van Dorn, Holmes, and Campfield, and certainly Krupa, who's definitely gonna make a move into Campfield now if he takes this corner correctly. No oversteering.
Krupa's all over the back of Campfield, even through turns 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
And Campfield's now going to have the slipstream and DRS off of Jonathan Holmes, so he can probably put up a fight this lap against Krupa, but Krupa's very close, and with that top speed advantage that Krupa seems to have over not just Campfield, but over pretty much anybody, he's hitting 305 into turn 1. The next fastest I can see is Alistair Can at 302, as Krupa's going to pull out with DRS and ease past Adrian Campfield. That's Dawa Krupa up into 4th. Next on his hit list is going to be Jonathan Holmes for 3rd.
Well, what do you reckon then? Does
Why-
Campfield
why
has too high wings, or maybe too much downforce?
Like it, which means running by himself he'll probably be pretty quick, but he'll just be a sitting duck on the straights. Is already Krupa forcing Jonathan Holmes to defend. Holmes doesn't have DRS on this lap, coming up to turn 3. Clearly Rick Van Dorn made a bit of a pull away as
Ooh, another
Holmes
mistake
now
of
clips
Holmes.
the wall on
Krupa
exit,
on the outside.
and Krupa's on the outside.
When he forces Holmes into a mistake.
Mistake from Holmes.
Oh, and instantly Campfield smells blood. And Holmes has to let him go as well. So a slight mistake in one corner costs him 2 places.
That's not going to be good for Jonathan Holmes.
And his
Might have
steering
damaged the
is
car, certainly
frustrating.
wouldn't have done the tyres any good. But now Krupa's got to set his eyes on Rick Van Dorn, who just needs to run for his life. And Holmes with some rear suspension damage, so that car is going to handle like an absolute pig through these fast corners. He's got some time back to Alexander Ragosa, so he should be able to ease off and hopefully bring that car home in 5th place in one piece, but
Exactly.
that's not going to be wanting to happen.
Oh, and your fortune can change quite dramatically in a few corners in this circuit. Krupa now onto the hunt for P2 and giving his team a 1-2, but I'm sure that Rick Van Dorn will do anything possible to not make that happen. But yeah, that...
Our cars, for the first few rounds, I was just making a point that they seem to always pop up into the points, but never managed to finish there. Not only did he qualify in 3rd, he's now running in 2nd. And Krupa doesn't have DRS on him quite yet, so Rick Van Dorn, for his life now, if he's ever going to put in 3 laps at circuit record pace, now we're going to be those 3 laps that he'd won.
Yeah.
Because is not going to be a comforting sign. Kind of dropping Adrian Campfield. Again, potential he's running too high wings. And the rest of them are all pulling away from Jonathan Holmes, who seems to be nursing that car to the finish.
Yeah, Jonathan Holmes actually lost 1 second over the last lap between him and Ragosa. So he has to get the points in the back. P5 is not a bad thing, and we still have race 2 again. So.
His championship rivals are currently 8th and 11th, so 5th place for Jonathan Holmes. He's got to be happy with it in the long run. But Ragosa and Pinsker are definitely making gains in this latter stages of the race. And that is next big battle. Arjen van Putten in 14th place and Daniel Hurlock are still all over each other. Van Putten coming from row 12 or 13 on the grid, and Hurlock with damage. These guys battling hard over 14th and 15th. Both at the very end of the reversed grid draw currently, and Van Putten is not making Hurlock's life easy here at all. Double point score for Go Team, they'll be happy with that at the moment if he can bring it home. And Paul Holt with a watch and brief in 16th needs to really be getting stuck into this, I think, if he wants to make anything happen.
Well, nobody has an easy life at the moment except for Martin Hamilton. Having said that, he's driving tremendously fast, but he has a 6-second gap between him and Van Dorn. So Yeah, he just has to keep it on the track and get...
Herlock hits the wall as they come down through turn 15. He's trying so hard to get past Van Putten, but I think that might be hurting him at this point, because now he's given a brilliant slipstream to Paul Holt. A rarity. Paul Holt, he's going to be looking to get through on Daniel Herlock. He's right in the slipstream. He's going to have DRS, but he's going to pull out even before the DRS activation point. Paul Holt is going to breeze his way past. Herlock's got DRS as well. So it's going to be DRS versus DRS into turn 1. Holt to the inside. Can he brake late? Swoops around the outside, and just in behind, that's Alistair Kahn making the move on Bartlemy Meshishik. So the two Santons are really up in the fight this round. So it's Santon and FRT who are the two teams currently bringing up the rear of the Teams Championship. So points from both of these organizations will be a big boost.
So, and Ragosa has now 1.2 seconds shy of Jonathan Holmes with only 1.5 laps to go. So this is going to be a...
It is, I think, and James Pinsker also looks like he's closing the gap on Ragosa. So I think Ragosa is going to be in two minds any second now between pushing to try and catch the damaged Jonathan Holmes or to defend his 6th place against the charging James Pinsker.
Yeah, obviously Ragosa doesn't know that Holmes has damage, but...
He may or may not do. A lot of people run with spotters nowadays, or with, with team managers and such. But looking back ahead, Rick Van Doorn is doing an incredible job. He's actually stayed out of DRS range against David Krupa, as they're going to come around now to start the final lap of the race. Rick Van Doorn could be on for this 2nd place here. I don't see Krupa quite catching him unless he makes a mistake.
Well, if Rick Van Doorn gets P2 and I would have a top hat, I would take it off.
Yeah, definitely take your hats off to Rick Van Doorn if he finished, or even for finishing on the podium, let alone if he manages to hold off Krupa, who did gain a lot into turn 1.
Was that a
Goes staying ahead of Pinsker. I hope not.
No, I hope not too. I mean, Rick Van Doorn is just driving the race of his life. Hemmingsen is definitely out of sight, but P2 would be a tremendous achievement.
It seems to be, like, as far as close wheel-to-wheel battle goes, the fight seems to be here. Alistair Kahn and Bartlemy Meshishik, they've changed places again on the way down to turn 1, and here comes Meshishik. He's come from a way back, and he's made that stick. Good move from Bartlemy Meshishik. These guys are fighting with everything they've got, and really they're only fighting for the grid position for race 2. They're not in the points, but it just shows how much a good fight means to people.
Yeah.
DRS on the way up to turn 3, and these guys aren't afraid to come from a ways back. Meshishik moves to defend. Spook Meshishik, but in the end locks up his own rear tyres. I'll have to check back in with that battle a little bit later on, because they're going to be coming up towards the end of the race for the guys at the front.
Only one corner to go for Hemmingsen.
Around turn 15.
Exactly.
And he makes it, so now it's just a case of stay out of the walls and hope your internet lasts to the line, and Martin Hemmingsen will be the winner here in race 1 at Baku.
Well deserved as well.
In on Rick Van Doorn. He's going to have DRS, but I don't think he's going to be able to close quite fast enough.
Not in a million years.
But further behind, Alexander Ragosa has had a poor exit from 16, and Pinsker's going to have the DRS and slipstream, so we'll have to see them to the line. But Martin Hemmingsen, the line, pole to flag victory. Great job from Hemmingsen, then across the line.
And Pinsker here
Rick
on to
Van Doorn
Ragosa. Ragosa squeezes him, but it's Pinsker that takes P6. Ragosa has to settle with P7. What a nice drag race through the line.
That was close as they come to the line. They're still changing Kahn and Meshishik in behind. Oh, Meshishik's around. He's got no front wing. He's losing place after place. Philip Koenig's gone through. Gert de Vries has gone through. Meshishik's going to finish with no front wing and in 20th place if he's lucky, but that's unfortunate for Meshishik. And that's Van Putten, Herlot, and Paul Holtz. That's going to round out your reverse grid candidates. The results as they come in, but Meshishik just went round on his own and took his front wing off, and he's going to be aided now by the lack of front downforce, but Yannick Malaika is closing fast, not quite going to close fast enough though. Coming to the finishes, Hayden Rhodes back in 24th. There's still a fight going on back here. Hayden Rhodes has gone around in turn 16. Francesco Gianale's gone through. Frank Hamming's gone through. Hayden Rhodes down in 26th, and he's got to get a 3-point turn in quick because Patrick Roshak and Hago Poom, the 2 academy drivers, not with a good race 1. They're coming up fast.
Ooh, Roshak spins. Ooh, manages to keep it straight, but only just as his teammate is going.
Poom's got no front wings, so he might actually be able to nick it at the very end. This is going to be close. Roshak on, Poom into the wall. Never mind, this isn't going to be close. Roshak's going to finish. But the full result, Martin Henningsen is going to be the winner of race 1 here at Baku.
Yeah,
ahead of a very impressive run for Rick Van Doorn. Hats off to him all around. Dawood Krupa recovers up to 3rd from the grid penalty, so a Mouse 1 double podium.
I think they're
too high downforce Adrian Campfield ahead of 5th place championship leader Jonathan Holmes. Took a big hit into the wall, but he's going to be happy with his points gain over Sandeep Singh. James Pitsker with a very impressive 6th run to the line, just pipping out Alexander Ragoza. Going to finish 8th ahead of Bernard Vela. Mateusz Jabinski going to round out the top 10. And a reverse grid candidate is going to be kicked off by Sandeep Singh in 11th. Menno Klont in 12th, George Whitehouse in 13th, Arjen van Putten in 14th, and Daniel Hurlock is going to round out the points finishers and the reverse grid candidates. Remember, it's an 11 to 15 reverse grid. And behind him is going to be Paul Holt, finishing 16th ahead of Alistair Kahn. Gerrit de Vries from the pit lane into 18th. Philip Koenig from the back of the grid into 19th. So those guys making 20 and 21 places respectively.
Yeah, even if they're not in the top 10, they should be happy with such improvement.
Yeah, for sure, and it's given them a good platform to aim for points in the second race.
Mm-hmm.
Bartley Meshishik going to finish without a front wing in 20th, ahead of Yannick Malaika. Stephen Lexau, after an early trip into the barrier after a great start in 22nd, ahead of Tony Janssen. Francesco Gianali going to pick up positions on the last lap, ahead of Frank Hamming. Hayden Rhodes, in a stark contrast to his teammate, he's down in 26th, ahead of Patrick Roshak and Hago Poom, the 2 academy graduates, not having such fortune in race 1. Tom Voss is going to be your last finisher, a lap down, and Kasper Michalek lost his front wing halfway through the race, so he's going to be classified 30th. Plenty of work to do in the second race. What's on that?
So that was a great race here in Baku, race 1 at least, and let's see if race 2 has more action-packed.
It almost certainly will. It's the Formula Challenge, it's Baku, and then throw on top of that, it's going to be a reverse grid. Between 11th and 15th, the race director will be drawing the number very soon. And we will be seeing you guys very soon as we have to go to another commercial break, but we'll be back with action from the reverse grid race 2.
I'm James Kirk. I'm Michi Hoyer, and you're watching simnews.tv.
It's gone off! Oh, no! Animal rolling! Who's completing her? He's gonna let It's Jumbo! He's gonna pass them both on the wet part of the racetrack! Oh, he swings left and right and then trying to go more top, more top. Oh! That was so close.
And we're back, gearing up for race 2 here in Baku. Unfortunately for that small delay, but we had a few problems, namely with the games crashing for a few people, myself included. But we are back. We have had the reverse grid draw, and it's going to be number 14. So it's going to be Arjen van Putten starting on pole position alongside George Whitehouse. So that's going to be a front row. I'm very interested to see how they do.
Yeah. Let's just hope they can make a good jump off the line and get into P1 and 2 at the first corner. But it's going to get tricky.
It sure will. And just in behind those guys, actually, finishing 11th and 12th in the first race, you've got Sandeep Singh and Menno Klont, both of who probably going to be disappointed to have finished that low down. Now they have an opportunity to start from row 2 and bank some big points that for sure they need both in the drivers and in the team's championship in order to stay up in it, especially with Jonathan Holmes scoring as well as he did and Mouse 1 scoring as well as they did.
Yeah, well, in 10 seconds we will go towards the race 2. And I'm sure this will be more exciting, more action-packed, because obviously we have the reverse grid.
Say, any predictions for the winner? Because quite frankly, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking those two Mouse 1 guys are a bit far back. Adrian Kempfield, he's got a bit too high downforce. Jonathan Holmes, I don't know, he made a few too many mistakes. I'm not seeing anyone charge through and score a double top 5 here.
No, I don't have a vision on the entire grid, so I'll have to give you an answer in a few seconds. But let's see. I mean, nothing is impossible. I mean, in one corner something can go horribly wrong, which can give another driver the edge. So, yeah, let's just wait and find out.
You never know until the race. Tell you what, though, I'm going to go for the underdog winner. I'm going to go for George Whitehouse, going to take the win in race 2 here. He's on the inside line into turn 1 and best incompetent driver, finished 13th, well in the points last time out.
Well, he just told me that he's flattered by your comment.
So hopefully he won't drop a mixtape dissing me. But no, Whitehouse, when he's kept his wheels on the tarmac this year, he's actually been doing pretty well. So why wouldn't that continue in race 2? As we have a few drivers, Campfield and who was that he was racing with across the line? Campfield and Krupa slamming into the wall after playing like it's Krupa. It was Campfield and Hemmingson playing a game of chicken with the turn 1 barrier. So here we go into race 2. The R Factor man's done his thing. The drivers are going to take to the grid, and we're going to have a new pole sitter for Go Team. It's going to be Arjen van Putten. Going to be taking his first pole of the season. Just to calm to the nerves or anything, but that's going to be quite scary, and especially around a track like Baku. You make one mistake, and not only is your race going to be in trouble, but you've got 30 angry cars behind you that you're going to need to rely on avoiding you, which around here is not necessarily going to be possible due to the walls being so close. On the front row is going to be George Whitehouse for Calamity, another good opportunity to score big points for him. Menno Klont going to be starting 3rd place on row 2, and joining him is going to be Sandeep Singh. Both of those drivers looking to score some big points to help the driver and team championship campaigns. Tesh Jabinski is going to be looking to try and get another top 10 finish and score some more decent points for PLS, as we seem to have a bit of a hold-up with Van Putten. I think he stalled it on the grid. That's not a good sign, but he's away now. Both Van Putten and Whitehouse slow to react. Bernard Vela for the 2nd KC Racing Esports. There he's going to be starting 6th, ahead of Terence Breck. Was going to be starting 8th, but he appears to have missed the grid, so that's going to be Alexander Ragoza having to wait for ages at the end of the pit lane.
That's painful.
It's going to hurt. I mean, we saw Garrett de Vries get up to 19th in the first race. I mean, Ragoza's going to have to work if he's going to get some points out of this one now. The factors are going to start with 9th place is going to be James Pinsker. We saw him and Ragoza have a near dead heat photo finish with Pinsker coming out on top in the first race. Will he be able to gain in the second race? I guess only time will tell. Place championship leader Jonathan Holmes. Good race 1. He's going to be looking to score more valuable points to aid that campaign. Behind him, Adrian Canfield. If he is running too high downforce, he's going to really suffer for it in the second race. He's down in 11th. got cars all around him, and if they can just breeze straight by, I don't know how he's going to make progress, but hopefully he'll have made the relevant changes and we'll see him moving back up towards the front in the second race. Row 6 is going to be Dawid Krupa. He's already proved he can make his way up through a field around this track, so he's going to be looking to make progress, this time starting from 12th. Prize of the first race, Rick Van Doorn finishing second, very strong finish. Now can he make his way up through a field? Then is going to be joining him, the race 1 winner down in 14th. Yet to see how Hemmingson can race around here, as he sort of took off into the distance in race 1. Sure have a more action-packed race 2, we'll have to see how he goes. Behind him, Daniel Hurlock in 15th for Stanton, getting a nice point on the board. Ahead of Paul Holt 16th and teammate Alistair Kahn, not Alistair Long, Alistair Kahn in 17th, ahead of Garrett de Vries 18th. Philip Koenig 19th in the top 20, rounded out by Bartlemy Meshishik. And behind him the two Razors, Yannick Malaika starting ahead of Stephen Lepso, Tony Jensen 23rd, Francesco Gianale in 24th. He's going to have to pick the pace up on the roll in that.
Yeah, I must say that Van Putten is rather hasty towards the Brits.
He wants to get it over and done with. Frank Hamming 25th ahead of Hayden Rhodes, who's starting also from the pit lane along with Alexander Ragosa. Then the two Academy cars, Patrick Roshak and Hugo Poom, both looking for a better race 2 than their race 1s. Tom Voss got lapped in the first race. He was running solidly, certainly the first 5 or 6 laps, but slipped back, finished 29th. And then Kasper Michalak with the DNF in race 1, he can only improve. This is he lines up very aggressively towards the middle of the road. As the drivers now look up to the lights, 2 lights, 3, 4, 5. And for race 2 at Baku, away they go. Ragosa and Rhodes to the end of pit lane. A good start for Van Putten and a great start. That's Jabinski already up onto the outside of Klont and Singh. Not going to hold it.
Oh, it's been!
Campfield and Rick Van Doorn's involved. The two standing there side by side are all over each other as they go. Standing Singh and Menno Klont side by side.
The crash.
Like a pancake. Full start for Sandy, so he's going to slip all the way down, but several drivers getting caught up in things at the start. Ragosa from the pit lane already has no front wing. Campfield all the way down in 29th. Hayden Rhodes is somehow still behind him. They're still in... There's a traffic jam in turn 3.
Tony Johnson and a big pile up now. Oh, this is going from bad to worse for a lot of drivers.
Koenig.
Yeah.
Koenig got spun in the middle of the track, but back towards the front. Van Putten did what he had to, got a good start, still in the lead. George Whitehouse going with him. Klont up to 3rd, and with the despise of Sandeep Singh, that's going to put Bernard Vela up to 4th. Terence Grech into 5th, so Grech now going to be looking to get some real advantage over Singh in the championship points standings. Mateusz Jabinski, after that great start, actually went back into 6th, but the two Mouse 1s already up to 8th and 9th respectively, and marched towards the podium. And another good start for Daniel Hurlock and for Alistair Kahn, both from 15th and 17th up to 11th and 12th. As Jonathan Holmes had a brief look at Hemmingson there, but that's going to leave him vulnerable on the exit. Hurlock could try and send it into turn 16, but he's going to think about it, going to do the smart thing, just going to tuck into the slipstream and hopefully make a move into turn 1.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Krupa is aiming for now, because he's right on the tail of James Pinsker, and I'm sure that he will make a move at the end of this straight. Got the slipstream now.
Grech and Jabinski, that's for 5th, and Jabinski's already slipstream past even before the start of the pit lane. By side with Pinsker. Grech looking back past Jabinski, has made it past Pinsker, and then Hurlock has managed to pass Jonathan Holmes. So Hurlock's really on the march since the start of the second race. Grech there, he's clipped the wall on exit at turn 2. That's given Dawid Krupa another great run. Krupa could be making 2 passes in 3 quarters here if he feels a bit brave. He's going to move towards the inside. No sense in diving at turn 3 this early in the race. But as you were saying before the broadcast, Chris, passing too early on that straight could lead to you just being overtaken, as it was for Grech.
Indeed, so that's the beauty of this track as well. So, and it seems that Krupa is just sliding through the field, already putting pressure onto Terence Grech as his teammate Hemmingson is attacking. Not getting the move. Yeah, he is getting the move now. So Hemmingson up to P8, Krupa to P7. Greg just feel the heat of the breath of Krupa breathing down his neck.
Pittsburgh seems to be a bit of a roadblock at the moment. He's already got Herlock all over the back of him, having just lost the place to Hemmington. But I think the aim of the game for Hemmington here is to not lose sight of David Krupa, who seems to be the only one that was able to match him on pace in qualifying. Krupa's looking even into turn 16 against Greg. I don't think he's going to go for that.
No, it was just a look maybe to force a mistake from Greg, but he knew he wasn't going to stick to that. But then again, he has a good run now.
As Krupa hits the wall, that's going to give Greg a breath of air, but Krupa's still catching. That Max 1 car seems ludicrously fast.
Yeah, it is.
Whitehouse right onto the back of Van Vleuten, but not going to do anything to turn 1. So now they've got DRS this lap though, so that could change everything. Vela staying ahead of Zubinski, and Krupa clean ahead of Terence Grech. It's Grech down to 7th, Krupa up to 6th, and now here comes Hemmington. He's not going to look into turn 2, but he's going to get the run out. So against Terence Grech, who himself has DRS from Krupa.
The DRS train at the stage of the race. And Greg is going to get a move in, tries to defend it, and it won't fit! The big shot for Greg, and this one spin! Holy moly! Somehow they managed to keep going almost instantaneously, but I don't know if they sustained any damage yet. Hemmington, his steering wheel is crooked.
So that's the tough break about racing open wheelers. They can hook together, and Hemmington now with a damaged car. Not sure what the situation is with Greg, but they both lost places.
His steering wheel is straight though.
Front, we're hearing George Whitehouse looking at Arjen van Vleuten, the gap only 0.3 of a second. That's going to be with DRS. It's going to be close into turn 1 if Whitehouse could just make a good run through 15 and 16. Yeah, actually quite a lot close through 15 as they come up towards turn 16.
He's definitely going to have a run in here. But will Putin go defensive? He should be, but...
Putin's got the run out ahead of Whitehouse. So it's going to be the run versus the slipstream on the DRS.
He's
far back,
definitely going to get
turn
close.
1.
Let's see if he can get close enough.
It almost looks like Van Puten's set up for pretty fast on his own. That's Herlock and Messerschmitt behind.
Yeah, the KPH is
Position change
different.
a little bit.
KPH difference between Whitehouse with his DRS and Putin without his DRS was only 7 kph at the end of the straight. So I think Putin has a tremendous good setup for the
Speaking
second
of
race.
people who are quick, David Krupa already up to 5th. He's managed to catch and pass Jabinski, and now his next target is Menno Klont. Giving up without a fight, trying to hang around in turn 3, but that's not going to happen. This is going to need to try and make this pass stick, certainly before Krupa gets up into 3rd. I think Krupa's got the legs on these guys.
Yeah. And Whitehouse now really on the backside of Arjen van Putten. Let's see here.
Just look back in the field, they're from 13th to 20th. They're basically on top of each other. It's Gerrit de Vries and Alexander Ragoza. Ragoza around the outside. Good pass from Ragoza. He's up into the points from the pit lane. So he's had a great start to the race. Someone else who's recovering, Sandeep Singh, after being flipped like a burger on the first lap, he's up to 18th. All battling into the cancel section. Look out, Frank Hamming on Rick Van Doorn and Yannick Malaika. They've come together. Rick Van Doorn he's had a horrible start to this race, and that's just got even worse. He's going to have to wait through a gap in the traffic all the way up to 28.
Yeah. This is going to be epic. And George Whitehouse now with a terrific run on Van Putten. So let's see if he can do it this time around. He's definitely getting closer, but the DRS has still to open. Yeah, but this should be a great move for Whitehouse. Let's see. Will Putin defend?
So that's the run you want.
Yeah.
There's not with that overspeed, but Whitehouse goes extraordinarily tight. So Van
Maybe
Putten
can go
back around the outside.
underneath. Oh, and a little bit of a twitch on the steering wheel for Arjen van Putten, but he has to manage to keep rather close to Whitehouse now to get another run in. He will get the DRS now. But it's his job now to keep as close until the last corner to maybe get the undercut the next time.
Perhaps, but looking just behind the looming threat, Dawid Krupa, he's disposed of Menno Klont, he's up to 4th. Now all that stands between Krupa and these two is Bernard Vela. But I think Krupa's got the edge on just like everybody here on pace. So Vela's going to have to work some to keep him behind. But these three have broken away from Jabinski, who's fallen right back into the arms of Pinsker, Holmes, and then very strongly in P9 ahead of Daniel Herlock. Looking back again for this battle for 14th, they're just on top of each other. They were going 3 wide into turn 5.
Yeah, it was
Sandy
epic.
Thing in the middle, Garrett de Vries and Paul Holt. The fringes of the points, like the green car Alistair Khan, he's the last point scorer, and these three just behind. They're all on top of each other trying to attack him. Towards the front, the leaders should be coming up onto the turn 15 and 16, and Whitehouse has pulled a bit of a gap.
Yes.
I
do think that he has higher downforce.
Possibly. DRS. Look at Krupa, he's all over Vela. He's going to have DRS and a long straight and a very fast car.
Krupa is looking terrifically fast. Tremendously, I wanted to say.
There he goes, yep, DRS, and he's gaining already. He's going to be up and offside just as the DRS opens. Krupa down the inside. He's going to fight it, try and send one back up the inside. No, he won't. Dawid Krupa up to 3rd and continuing his march from 12th. 5 laps, which around here is no easy feat. As just behind that, Jonathan Holmes passing James Pinsker to get back ahead, but...
And Krupa might even look strong to take the win here, if I'm honest.
I think at this point you've got to consider him the favourite. He has got to get past Arjen van Putten and George Whitehouse, who are in the situation where they're in the top 2. Hasn't happened every day for this season.
Hemmingston got together, and it seems that James Pinsker has spun there, and he is losing a lot of places, and he makes contact with Rosiak. Not too heavily though, fortunately for the both of them.
Right. Pinsker and Garrett de Vries come in contact. De Vries goes around, Hamming gets involved, Paul Holt as well. Well, to avoid him, Garrett de Vries again waiting for the expanding sort of traffic to get back through as he gets back around. Hugo Poom almost involved as well, but that's not a good few corners there.
And Krupa was almost bump drafting there with Van Putten. He's really up to of him, and he's even on it. He's just having a look here.
Oh, big lag. That's not good. 600 ping. I don't know if that's me or if that's the server, but it's not looking good.
So Putin now really has to defend from Krupa, but I don't know if he can, because Krupa is looking so incredibly fast. And behind that is Vela as well, who is catching up both of them actually. So let's see on the top speed of Arjen van Putten. Krupa getting closer with the DRS. Will Putin defend? He will not. Or maybe he tries to undercut, brakes earlier. No, it's Krupa on to P2. Only one more to go for Krupa, and it's George Whitehouse.
I was saying Van Putten, he's got to now be careful with Bernard Vela, who's... He's got his eyes set on the podium almost for sure here. He's got to get back to Menno Klont, so he's got nothing behind him to worry about quite yet. Just behind that, Jonathan Holmes has continued his march forward. He's up to 6th, having passed Mikhail Shabinski.
Whitehouse still leading, but he can see the yellow car into the back of him. And Herlock having a look into the car of Hemmingson, but he isn't quite able to make the move. But Hemmingson's struggling with that suspension damage.
So right on the outside of here is not going to be possible, but Hemmingson not going to outbreak himself, so I think Herlock's going to have to wait for the straight, but I definitely think this move is on for Herlock. Terrence correct. But
yeah, I think
that, Rosiak and Meshishik are having one of those physical battles out there at the moment. They nudged wheels 3 times on the road to the castle section as if to say, you back out, no you. And they're under pressure from Vergoza, as around goes Meshishik, that's the wall. that's the race for Vladimir Neshishik. Unfortunately, he was running up in the points, and that's given Frank Hamming 15th place, so another point for Race Cars Namco will be pleased as punch with that result. Sandeep Singh and James Pinsker is going to be an interesting fight to keep an eye on. Cooper's not going to be able to make the pass yet, but he's within the DRS range. He's got to make hay while the sun shines, does George. Does make it through, then he's going to be in a good spot as Bernard Vela ranging up on the back of Van Putten. But Van Putten does seem to be very fast without DRS or slipstream, so it could be a DRS defense. Herlock up into 8th past the limping Martin Hemmingson, so Hemmingson valiant defense, but to be catching up with him as Herlock makes it through. Not the fight yet, as he's got DRS open steering wheel at 20 degrees and still attacking Daniel Herlock as Hemmingson's to the outside. Tries to brake late, Herlock's going to brake even later and stay at the inside. So good pass from Herlock.
Definitely.
Way through the section where Hemmingson's bound to struggle with that steering damage.
And we have a nice battle for the lead now, actually. Krupa is coming up to the backside of Whitehouse, and he's constantly putting up pressure by going alongside him and letting Whitehouse know that he's right on his tail. And obviously some drivers can cope with that, others, you know, might break under that pressure. But Krupa is doing anything possible to keep the pressure on the lid of Whitehouse.
And so you said battle, this is looking more like a massacre the way David Krupa has been eating his way through this field, but he's looking left, he's looking right. I think that's all just to try and unnerve Whitehouse, because he's not realistically going to make the move until the DRS zone. But Whitehouse, he's run a great race so far, and even if Krupa passes him, if he can just hold on to the back of Krupa, that's going to be a solid top 2 finish. But he's not going to want a top 2 finish, he's going to try and defend this, I think. But Krupa, look at the closing speed, like...
Wow. Yeah, this is insane, and the DRS still has to open, so...
So he's gone through before the DRS activation.
Krupa in the lead now.
And Whitehouse doing anything to I don't think he is, but behind that's Bernard Vela and Arjen van Putten side by side, and then the two crossfires. I think Menno Klontz just let Jonathan Holmes up into 5th. But ahead of Van Putten, Jabinski still in 7th. Hemmingson has repassed Daniel Herlock, so these two, the battle is not over. Herlock looking down towards the inside of turn 2, but he's not going to make anything happen there. He's going to pop his DRS. Terence Grech still keeping a watching brief in 10th, and then this crazy battle that's now for 11th between Roshak, Ragoza, and Pinsker, and Sandeep Singh is still hot as ever. Roshak from down in 27th on the grid, and Ragoza, who started from the pit lane, going at it for 11th and 12th as Ragoza's got up alongside. Roshak's got ahead into turn 4. Pinsker all the time, he's going to be looking for a move. Ragoza's all over the back of Roshak though. He's going to try again at some point. Roshak goes in deep. Ragoza's going to have to run on the way out of the corner as they head up towards the very tight turn 7. Ragoza looks to the inside.
And we have a 4-way battle on hand between Van Putten and Vela. Yeah, go ahead.
So I was going to say, Roshak made a mistake and Ragoza got through, but if there's a 4-way battle for 3rd, which there is, as Van Putten is going to turn 15, but Vela and Jonathan Holmes are all over the top of him.
Yeah, we have to take a look now onto Van Putten, Vela, Holmes and Klont, because Klont is just catching up, but Holmes might have a double toe here with Vela and Van Putten in front of him. This will be tight and this will hopefully not end in tears. But let's see here. Top speed of Vela is looking promising. Van Putten has to defend. Is defending.
Side.
Top speed. Yeah, man, Holmes is mingling into the battle, but chooses wisely. Oh, he's going to the outside. Holmes on the outside of Van Putten. Tremendous move, but can he make it stick? I don't think he can, but that was brave to say the least.
I think Van Putten had to be easy on the brakes because Vela just straight up drove around him, and that gave Jonathan Holmes the chance to go around the outside. But look at this, they're all closing up now for 3rd. You got Van Putten versus Holmes. Klont just in behind fighting with Jabinski. Hemmingson.
Holmes diving! Holmes diving, and they make contact! Van Putten and Holmes make contact, but unfortunately not severe.
So Van Putten, it looks like his he's just putting up a great defense. He's trying to make his car as wide as the track, but in doing so, he's really bottling everybody up behind him.
Yeah, it seems like
Holmes is
he's.
gonna be looking for any way.
I just want to say, it seems like he's just settling in and tries to score as much points in this race as possible, because he knows that the podium is basically lost.
I say Van Putten, he's not had the greatest starts to the years, and you know, like a big injection of points like this 4th place is going to be really important to him, so he's not going to want to let it slip for anybody, not for love nor money, but Holmes is going to be all over the top of him.
Yeah, but to be fair, Van Putten should know that Holmes is fighting for the championship, so he could make that into an advantage as he oversteers into that corner.
I mean, he could force Holmes to put his car in a compromising position, but I don't know. I don't know if Holmes is going to have the time for that, because Klon, I think, doing everything possible to keep Jabinski in behind him at the moment, and Hemmingson's ranging up onto the back, and Herlock's dropping back from Hemmingson, but still catching this battle for 4th.
Yeah, and just look how Vela managed to pull away. And that's Jonathan Holmes into P4 here, and Menno Klont seeing it all happen right in front of him, and he might be able to capitalize on this.
I'll say he's got to be looking for a way past Van Putten, because Zibinski's all over him, and Hemmingson, even with damage, is still seemingly able to lap faster than a lot of these guys, so he's caught right up onto the back of them. There's passing going on further back down, as Sandeep Singh passes Patrick Roshak, who's still hanging on for some good points, but Sting up to 13th.
Definitely an exciting racer in Baku, race 2 today.
Look anywhere there's a fight other than in the top 3, they're just going around. Krupa's gapped Whitehouse, who's gapped Vela. The rest of this battle, they're all on top of each other. And look at Hemmingson, that's Daniel Herlock. He's spun out of turn 6.
Ouch.
Turn Gret goes through. Herlock's now stuck in a bit of a compromising position. He's got to try and get facing the other way, but there's oncoming traffic. Through goes Ragoza. Pinsker nearly loses it into him, and there's Roshak Singh. Is just down the road. Philip Coney's in the same situation as 2 Matador cars go through, but Herlock back in the right direction. Unfortunately, out of the points, though, he's going to have some work to do, but he has got some time left on the clock, so we'll see if he can set off after Adrian Campfield. Go. Singh goes around! Just as I said, Sandeep Singh loses it out of turn, I think that's turn 12, and he's lost his front wing and he's got heavy damage. Potentially a puncture there as he loses it. Again, he's going to have to limp that thing back, but Sandeep Singh not having the... He would hope to have had him back.
He stops.
Over.
But he started P5, I believe, didn't he? Sandeep.
At the front, and he was a championship protagonist going into this round. Back up towards the front. Look at this. Jabinski going super defensive early. It's Hemmingson. Hemmingson's already gone to the outside, and he might pick up some slipstream from Klont and Van Putten, who are side by side ahead. Hemmingson.
Ooh, no, this Matthews should shut the door here. He has the track position. Hemmingson knows it, but he's not giving up. He's like, I already have a damage suspension. I don't care what happens next. But now that Matthews is not better of it.
Instead of touching wheels, look, Hemmingson's properly on the attack here. Damaged car as they make slight contact again. Hemmingston sideways as well to gather everything up. But this battle's getting very physical. I don't think Jabinski wants to be overtaken at this late stage of the race.
No, the gloves definitely come off at this stage.
So you got 2 weeks to repair the cars, so get at it, guys. On the table is Van Putten and then the top still tail. Already getting a little bit. Hemmingston just attacking Jabinski everywhere. He's looking left and right. He won't look through the castle section. He did. But he's going to get the run out of the castle section as they go through the left-hand kinks. Hopefully I'm not cutting it anymore. Thanks for that, Alex. But it looks like Jabinski managed to pull enough ahead of Hemmingson that Hemmingson's going to need a good run. As I say that, as they both clip the wall through turn 15 and down to 16, Klont's on the back of Van Putten ahead.
Yeah, he sure is. He's going to make a move stick, but Van Putten did have the great top speed in this race, but it won't help him with the DRS advantage that Klont has at the moment. So Let's see here, will he defend? He has to stick his car in the middle of the road, so Klont has to go onto the outside. Go left, Van Putten. Good job. Now squeeze Menno, if you can, but ooh, this will be a breakout. Yeah, big game of chicken, like you said, and Van Putten won. But it's not over yet. Klont is back, he could dive here.
Jabinski just in behind Hemmingson drove around Jabinski. Jabinski's gone in deep and he's hit the wall. So I think that's that fight over. Hemmingson into 7th, Jabinski into 8th, but correct, he should be able to hold that. So now the fight is truly for 5th and 6th, Van Putten versus Klont. Will that change before the end of the lap?
David Krupa is finishing his last lap now. Into the lead, comfortably into the lead. George Whitehouse is on P2 and Bernard Vela in P3, who still has a slight gap to Jonathan Holmes, and only one mistake of Vela now will give Holmes a shot in onto the line. And what would that be for a podium?
Well,
Holmes is getting there. Holmes is getting there.
Closing, whether he'll close enough. Well, if he makes a good run through 15 and 16, for sure it could be on.
It could be on indeed, as David Kappa is going onto the last corner of the race. Vela is with
Vela! Lost the rear end. Here comes Holmes. They're nose to tail now. It's going to be a case of can Vela go fast enough to stay ahead of the DRS, but we're going to have to switch back to the front and give David Krupa his due as he comes up towards the line. David Krupa is going to be 2 wins from Mouthsport. There's still positions chopping and changing all in behind.
Yeah, and Jonathan Holmes.
He finishes 1st and the 2nd. Well done, David Krupa. Whitehouse is going to be 2nd, but side by side for the line. Vela's going to lose out, I think. Holmes has got the DRS and the run. Jonathan Holmes steals 3rd at the death from Bernard Vela.
My God.
A clean performance from him. Arjen van Putten managed to hold on to 5th ahead of Klont and Hemmingson. So great drive from Hemmingson with the damage and all. Jabinski 8th, Greg 9th, Ragoza 10th, Pinsker 11th. And then Campfield has passed Roshak on the final lap. And Frank Hamming is up to 14th. And 15th is Rick Van Doorn, so something must have happened to Herlock on the last lap. But Rick Van Doorn from 24th or 26th position or something and off in the castle section up P15. Well done, that man. As finishes 16th after a great race. Unfortunate spin, and then obviously something else has happened for him to lose his front end. Hayden Rhodes 17th, Garrett De Vries, Tony Janssen both crossing the line. And there's still a fight going on back here. Janale Koenig with no nose though is going to lose out on this one. And Paul Holt's going to round out the finishers in 22nd. But race 2 at Baku in the Formula Challenge, it was crazy from start to finish.
Yeah, but 70 thousandths of a second, and Vela would have had the podium. But nevertheless, tremendous drive from both of them, Holmes and Vela. But I'm sure that Vela has a sour taste in his mouth after losing that podium, because he lost the podium and Holmes won the podium here. But tremendous race 2 here in Baku.
So I think the move was made because of the sideways from Vela through turn 15. You know, he just got one wheel over the curb, and these cars and curbs are not best friends, and he did well to save it, all things considered, but then he lost the 3rd place on the run to the line.
Yeah, but what a drive of all of these guys. And like you said, like Krupa did a tremendous job, even finishing 6.8 seconds in front of Whitehouse. So hats off.
For sure, the Mouse 1 drivers, class of the field today. They're going to take some beating, I think, even though they're behind in the championship currently due to a poor round 1. Keep an eye on them coming through for the rest of the season. Hopefully now we can grab some drivers for interviews when they start to file in once they get back to the pits.
Would be nice.
Hey, Chris. How did you find that then around Baku?
How did I find
without them being in a battle for all of both races, pretty much?
Yeah, we were entertained. Let's put it like that. I mean, it was tremendous racing today, and the race 2 was a little bit more exciting in terms of overtakes, but that's obviously what's going to happen when you have a reversed grid. So, and a lot of these guys could capitalize on it. I'm sure that Arjan van Putten is looking back on some tremendous points here, and I'm sure he will be satisfied. I mean, I think it would be. I think he would have thought it would be realistic that he wouldn't win the race, but then again, P5 is not bad.
Say in a situation like that, if you make your car wide, you can build a season off of results. I remember a few years ago in the World Sports Series, David Yunt took 5 wins en route to being runner-up in the championship, and they were all from race 2 reverse grids. So you can build a season off of strong race 2 performances. But we do have a few drivers for interviews, and we're going to start off with, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, probably the biggest surprise in a positive way from this event is Rick Van Doorn.
Yeah, hello. Well, race 1 at least. We don't talk about race 2.
And so you did a good job in race 2 getting back into that point position, but race 1, second place on the finish, third place on the grid. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, Baku has always been like a track that has been really solid for me from the moment everyone went to it, basically. So I was really hoping that I could show the pace here, because I definitely couldn't in the past few races because of like my mistakes and some other mistakes. But yeah, the race 1 just went like really well. Survived the first few laps, managed to grab an overtake in turn 1 on, I think, Adrian Campfield it was, and then just managed to fend off David Krupa till the end.
Yeah, and do you think you can carry the speed on towards the next event?
Well, like, as good as Baku usually is for me, like that bad is Spain usually for me. So I hope so, but I don't have high hopes right now.
Oh, we're cheering for you.
It's good to hear.
I said an injection of points like that is going to have helped the Mad Otter team no end. We saw Hayden Rhodes not having such a great race this time out, but could this be? I know you said you don't like Spain, but could this be a change of form for the team? As opposed to having good flashes in the race to actually be able to bring home the big points from here on in.
Well, certainly hope so. Like apparently Hayden can do pretty well at Spain, so I hope he can carry us through there, and then we can go through the rest of the races together. But yeah, it could definitely be like a turnaround, but it's still quite a few races, so let's see.
Well, let's see indeed, and we shall see you in Spain as we're going to move on to our next interviewee. And another person who I think everyone is all pleasantly surprised with their result. In the second race, it's George Whitehouse.
Yes, I am very happy with that one.
Nice drive.
Performance.
Yeah, I mean,
again,
race 1, I feel that was where my true pace was at, because this week I've been working for Morgan Cars in real life, so I've not had much time to practice. And then, yeah, race 1 was where my probably true pace was at. And then, obviously, race 2 came along, and I got a little bit lucky with my grid starting slot. Built my pace up from then throughout the entire race, and just kept my cool head and thought I'd best settle for a podium rather than potentially lose the win, and even a podium if I battled with Krupa. So that was my game plan.
I say sometimes all you need is that bit of luck, and then to keep a clear head. I mean, we saw you in the air back at Australia, but since then, since you've been keeping the wheels on the floor, you've been having a pretty solid season. Like always thereabouts in points and getting some strong race 2s.
Yeah, I mean,
see more of you.
Yeah, that was my plan for the first half of this season anyway. It was just to get a solid ground with the car, with the points and everything. And for the second half of the season, I'm going to really just try and push for that consistent top 5, top 6s, maybe for some good championship points towards the end of the season.
Oh, that's great. And I'm sure I'm not alone in wishing you good fortune for the rest of the season.
You're definitely not alone here as well. But great race, George. I hope in Spain that you can even get a step higher.
Cheers.
And speaking of that step higher, it's the race 2 winner and race 1 through place driver, David Krupa. David, you and Martin seem to be the class of the field here today. Is this a sign for things to come?
Well, first of all, I would like to say a big thanks to Matthew Munich for being my race engineer and being with me since last summer. I was waiting for this for 3 years now, and I'm shaking, to be honest, now, and I don't really know what to say apart from big thanks to everyone, to the team, to Maciej, to everyone who was with me during the time. But yeah, back to the race. First race, the penalty wasn't so bad. I mean, it could be always a bit better than first place, but yeah, I'll happy take that. And the second race, uh, a lot of overtakes. Sadly, on the DRS zone, but yeah, I'll take that too.
You were really on fire today. I mean, did you realize? Was it your plan to be like, oh, I could win this second race? You're like, I'm gonna go full.
Yeah, actually, this was my plan. Before the race, I thought to myself that I need everything to win now because it's taking me so long to get there that
Mhm.
it was at some point I didn't actually believe in myself, to be honest, that much. So yeah, I said to myself before the second race that I will do everything to win it, and
And win it, you did.
Yeah.
With almost
Amazing.
what is it, 7-8 second lead. So really, really good job.
Thank you so much, thank you.
So yeah, a win coming from 12th on the grid, that's going to be one that you can look back on fondly.
I mean, I still have a bit of water in my eyes. Maciej knows something about that because he was on the mic with me, and yeah, I'm shaking. I don't know what to say. Sorry, guys.
And so with matching Milnik in your area, you've not got, you can't get too much better as a sim racing driver than matching Milnik. So it's a great guide for you, I'm sure.
Exactly.
But with fair to say this, with not such a good round one and back of the grid penalty really harming your second round at Bahrain and here, are you considering? I mean, for sure, teams championship, but you got your eye on driver's title, or are you just taking this race by race?
I think I will take this race by race. I was actually planning to look further into this during the mid-season, actually, to see what's what, and then I'll be a bit more sure. But for now, I think I will take this race by race, and yeah, it's a long season, and it's only the small step. It's really small step, and yeah, I need a bit more of the small steps to achieve something bigger, and surely I will do my best, always 110 and 110%. So yeah, race by
Well,
race it is.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Thanks for the interview, David. And we are going to round things off today with the man who got very much pipped to that third place in race 3, Bernard Vela. Bernard, 700ths of a second separating you from a podium. Is that something you're going to be out for vengeance for next time? And super sub round.
Yeah, that was very annoying. I got a really bad exit of the final corner, and then he just came like a missile with the slipstream. But I can still say I'm happy because I literally had zero training. I came in at qualifying, so I'm very happy.
I'd say that's pretty impressive for not having that much practice. Are we going to be seeing you in the car again this season, or is that just an emergency drive?
Miguel had some problem, and a few minutes before the race, Brendan told me that I have to substitute in, and so I just got in quickly and tried to do the best I can. And I don't know if I'm gonna return back this season, but you never know.
Well, after that performance, I, for one, certainly hope to see you come back again. Maybe not at the expense of Miguel de los Rios, because he's always very interesting to watch, but for sure you made an impact on this season, and hopefully you can continue to make more.
Well, I hope.
And after that, drivers' interviews are done. GPVWC will be in action again tomorrow for the World GT. I think it's James Kirk on commentary for that. As I say, I'm for one on track for that And then next week, we have the Super Cup, Super League, and Super League Lights on Wednesday, respectively. So until then, for Alex Skinner and Chris de Jong, I've been Mike Bell, and we shall see you again.
I'm James Kirk. I'm Mitchie Hoyer, and you're watching simnews.tv.
It's gone off! Oh, no! Animal rolling! Who's completing it? He's gonna get forward! Chandler! He's going to pass them both on the wet part of the racetrack! Oh, he swings left and right, and then trying to put Morris up, Morris! Oh! That was so close!
A brand new graphics engine. We've got a brand new mod, brand new drivers, fantastic drivers returning. Green light. Look at that. And they're going side by side through 7 and 8. Incredible stuff. They've been going at it for half a lap. I said we saw a couple of concept. And Capit has made it 6th this time around into P2. First race win of World Grand Tour 2018. Kevin Riley, the Irishman, takes the win in what was a fantastic start to the GT3 pack era.
To keep up to date with the latest GPVWC videos, click on the subscribe button, or check out more of our exciting sim racing action by choosing a video. For more information on the league, visit gpvwc.com.